chance to see the Titanic. No other ship sparks people's interest like the Titanic. The stories connected with this ill-fated ship continue to touch people's hearts all over the world. If you're a hardcore fan, pay attention because the wreck from the once majestic ship won't be around forever. Keep watching to learn what will happen to the wreck of the Titanic over the next few years, and when you should visit if you want to see it before it completely disintegrates. And don't forget to click the subscribe button and turn on notifications to join us on the bright side of life. So, why are you interested in the Titanic? Maybe you're a historian. Maybe you saw the movie and just have to see the ship with your own eyes. Maybe you're a ship aficionado, or had a family member aboard the ship. There are many reasons why people are so captivated with this ship. Whatever the reason, if you've ever wanted to see the wreck, you better do it soon because it's being eaten away as we speak. The Titanic struck an iceberg on April 14, 1912. Just a few hours later, the ship split in two. It was last seen at 2:20 a.m. on April 15, 1912. That was the last time people would see the marvelous boat afloat. For years after, no one knew where the boat had gone. Many expeditions tried to find the wreck of the Titanic, trying to estimate where it would have landed, but none succeeded. It wasn't until 1985 that oceanographer Robert Ballard accidentally discovered the ship while on a U.S. Navy mission. By the time they found it and brought news to the surface, the ship was already starting to deteriorate. To this day, only a few people have had the chance to see the Titanic. One of them is the director of the Hollywood movie Titanic, James Cameron. He brought pictures back from the wreck that showed further deterioration. The Titanic wreck has been lying at the bottom of the ocean for over 100 years, so you can imagine its state. Bacteria designed to form rust has been eating away at the entire ship. The bacteria is so powerful that it eats around 400 pounds a day, stripping the ship bit by bit. Surprisingly, the Titanic is surrounded by so much bacteria that it is currently host to more life than ever before. In a matter of 20 to 50 years, the bacteria will have eaten so much of the ship that the wreck will be unrecognizable. As the window of opportunity to see the site closes, American company OceanGate offers trips down to the wreck. The first trip, carrying tourists, was supposed to head down in 2018, but the weather wasn't favorable, so it was pushed back to 2019. OceanGate has already conducted trips to the Titanic, but tourists have never been allowed on board. Dives to the Titanic have collected data, gathered samples, and taken pictures. Another company called the Bluefish has planned trips to the wreck in 2019 and 2020. Their submersible has a 7-inch acrylic window to get the best view. As news breaks that the Titanic is deteriorating, more and more commercial companies are bound to offer submersible trips to the wreck. If you think you can just head down and come back up the same day, the reality is a bit more complicated. The journey to the wreck involves an 8-day trip, which leaves from Newfoundland, Canada. Passengers board a submersible made of titanium and carbon fiber. After all, as you descend into the dark depths, the water pressure increases, and you don't want a submersible made of flimsy materials. Once inside the sub, you'll descend a distance of 12,500 feet to the ocean floor. The distance isn't so far if you were on land. On land, it would be like heading to your nearest grocery store. But when you think of 12,500 feet in terms of a vertical distance, dropping down into the darkness, the reality of it all might be enough to send shivers down your spine. As you descend, bioluminescent creatures are likely to make an appearance. The darkness is so intense at this depth that sea life has developed its own way of making light. It'll take about 90 minutes to make your way down, during which time you can go through all the stages of grief and panic. Maybe you'll start with denial. I can't be in a submarine. What was I thinking? This is too scary. Get me out! And then there's anger. Get me out, or I'll scream. How about bargaining? If you bring the sub up, I'll pay you double. Perhaps even depression. Oh, what have I done? The window will crack and we'll all drown. Finally, there's acceptance. Oh, the sub seems to be alright. This is actually really cool. After an emotional roller coaster, the magnificent sight of the wreck will meet your eyes, and you'll get a 360-degree view of the Titanic, which you can enjoy for around 3 hours, depending on the submersible company. You'll be able to see the deck, the bow, the ship's propellers, the Marconi room, where the wireless operator sent the SOS as the ship was sinking, and the cavern that was home to the grand staircase, which is now really famous. In addition, you'll probably be able to spot a few personal objects lying on the ocean floor, mostly shoes and bags that belong to the Titanic's passengers. A big concern is whether companies like OceanGate and the Bluefish would be disturbing what's essentially a burial site. Both companies insist that the dives are made respectfully, and that they don't retrieve any artifacts. It's also unclear whether the dives will actually make it down this time. Both companies have scheduled and have had to put off trips. The Bluefish planned to bring tourists to the wreck back in the early 2000s, but the trip was pushed because of political instability and repairs that needed to be made. What's certain is this: when the trips do take off, only a lucky few will be able to see the wreck, since the subs can only take about 9 passengers at a time, in addition to the crew. The companies want to point out that it isn't so much a tourist attraction as an exploratory experience. Besides showing you around, they are there to continue to assess the state of the ship and gather samples. So instead of wearing your high heels or your suit, you can gear up with some hefty boots, a really warm outfit, and channel your favorite famous explorer. If you're interested in seeing it before it disappears, the time is now. In 100 years, the site of the Titanic might have just a few remnants strewn out on the ocean floor. Just make sure you have a big wad of cash, because the experience isn't cheap. A trip to the site will cost you over $105,000 per person. If the price makes you think twice, an interesting point is that after taking inflation into consideration, the price is what some passengers in first class would have paid to board the ship back in the day. The current price is equivalent to $4,350 in 1912. Price notwithstanding, seeing the Titanic's wreck is the experience of a lifetime. If the price is too hefty for your taste, you can go to Ireland's Titanic Museum, or you can wait a few years and head to the Sichuan province in China, where a life-size replica of the Titanic is being constructed. The replica of the Titanic will also include a theme park. It's a multi-million-dollar project that will allow you to walk the same hallways, look at the lavish accommodations, and enjoy the spectacular view from the top of the ship, just like the original Titanic passengers did. The replica was supposed to be completed in 2017, but the construction is far from over. If you want a more low-key approach, you can always head to Las Vegas, low-key, to see some of the Titanic's artifacts. You can also just cozy up on your couch with a big box of tissues and watch the movie for the bazillionth time. Hey, whatever floats your boat. So tell us, Brightsiders, will you see the Titanic before it disappears? Let us know in the comment section below. Don't forget to give this video a like, share it with your friends, and click subscribe to stay on the bright side.